Hi, welcome to True Crime Talk. This is Kathleen, and in this video, I'm going to be discussing Catrina Renee Jackson, who went missing way back in 1986 from Sylvania, Georgia. This picture on the screen is a photo aged, progressed to 41 years photo of her. She would, she was missing. She went missing when she was 13 years old. Today, she would actually be 51 years old, but this age progressed photo was progressed to about age 43. Catrina was reported missing on May 29th, 1986, after she failed to show up at school and failed to return home that day after school. So they realized she was missing when she didn't come home from school, and then they found out that she had never made it to school. In July of 2024 of this year, her mother, Sandra Isler or Eiler, last name spelled Isler, did give an interview to the Sylvania Times newspaper in July and told them that what happened was Catrina had spent the night at her sister Shirley Martin's house in Hiltonia. And her mother said that she usually caught the bus there in Hiltonia and then came home in the afternoon to our house in Wade Plantation. So apparently she spent the night with her sister, was going to catch the school bus in her sister's area near her sister's home in Hiltonia, but then she would come home to Wade Plantation where her mother lived. The bus driver reported that Catrina never boarded the bus that day, so she never made it onto the bus to go to school. And this is what's scary. One of the scary things about this case is that her school books were found on the ground at the bus stop. So that doesn't sound good, but I guess the question would be, did Catrina purposely leave her books there so she could leave willingly with somebody? Did she willingly get in a car with somebody, like a boyfriend, an older man or something, or a girlfriend, an older girlfriend who could drive and had a car to run away? Or was she kidnapped from the bus stop and her books were left there behind? Her mother said, "It's been far too long for a mother to grieve." It's been since 1986 that her daughter has been missing. Very little information that I could find on this case, like a lot of these old cases online. But I'm happy to see that at least this year in 2024, her mother is still trying to get word out there and still trying to let people know about her daughter's disappearance and still looking for her. So this is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's website. And as I said, she would be 51 years old today. And here's another age progressed photo to 46 years. It says she was last seen on her way to school. She has pierced ears and moles across her back. She was last seen wearing blue jeans, blue sneakers, a black t-shirt with Daytona Beach on the front, and a wristband with Renee on it. So I think she might have went by her middle name, Renee. This is a newspaper article from way back in 2011. It says Sylvania resident has not been seen or heard from in 25 years. Catrina Renee Jackson left her sister's Hiltonia residence May 29, 1986, approximately 6:30 a.m. en route to school. The then 13-year-old Sylvania girl has never been seen or heard from again. Jackson now has been missing for 25 years. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children said its search remains ongoing as it continues to ask the public for help in locating Jackson, who would be 38 years old. So back in 2011, she would have been 38 years old. Jackson is a white female with curly brown hair and hazel eyes. At the time of her disappearance, she was 5'3" and weighed 130 pounds. She was last seen wearing blue jeans, blue sneakers, a black t-shirt with Daytona Beach on the front, and a wristband with Renee on it. The public is urged to call 1-800-THE-LOST with any information they have concerning the disappearance or current whereabouts of Jackson. Calls are kept confidential and may be made anonymously. People can also call the Screven County Sheriff's Office at 912-564-2013. The NCMC has released an age progression composite of what Jackson may look like at the age of 36. So this one's age 46 years, and this one is age 43 years. This is what she may look like if she's still around today. She may look somewhat similar to these photos. Of course, this is a Charlie Project page, and they have the same photo. And with a lot of these cases, there aren't many photos of the people. This is the only photo here on the left of what she looked like back then around the time she went missing. And these are the age progressed photos. But it's not very many photos, unfortunately. And she was born in 1973. Like, as I said, she was 13 years old at the time she went missing. See if they have any other information. So Catrina may go by her middle name, Renee. And it talks about the Daytona Beach shirt that she was wearing. So that's something that if a body was ever found in the past or in the future, that if there's a shirt similar to this, that they might want to check to make sure it's not her. And this is the GBI website page for missing persons, Catrina Renee Jackson. And it's just the same information that we already know. And there's the bigger age progressed photo. That's what she would have looked like approximately at age 46, according to the people who do these photos. So again, like with a lot of other old missing persons cases, there's very limited information, but her family is still looking for her. At least her mother, as current as this year, was doing an interview with the Sylvania Times newspaper in Sylvania, Georgia, trying to get up some media attention for her daughter's case. But the information in the article given by the newspaper and the mother is very limited. Her mother said, I quote, "She usually caught the bus there in Hiltonia and then came home in the afternoons to our house in Wade Plantation." And then the other quote, the mother said, "It's been far too long for a mother to grieve." But that's the only other information. I have no information on what kind of student Catrina was, or what kind of child she was, or what her home life was like, or whether she got along well with her parents, or she just lived with her mother, and if her father was in her life, or if she was dating boys, if she was into boys and she hung around with boys, had boyfriends, or talked to or hung around with older boys. I have no idea of any information. And in the article, it doesn't say whether her mother thinks she left willingly or was kidnapped. I assume she was kidnapped if, from the circumstances, but I have no idea because nobody's in any articles I've read has stated, what they think happened to her. Just very basic information. So, like a lot of these other cases, I don't have a lot of information to give, but I would like to get her picture out there. And who knows, maybe it would be nice if she was still out there, that she just decided for whatever reason to take off on her own. But she was 13, so to me it seems highly unlikely that someone so young would be able to just leave voluntarily and make it on her own, or make it with whoever she ran off with. But you never know. A lot of teenagers who run away from home, they end up still being around. They just never get back in contact with their families. But like I said, I don't know what her home life was like, whether she had a reason to want to run away or not. But her mother is still looking for her to this day. And she was only 13 at the time she left. And from the information that I read, let me find it again. Let's see. The bus driver reported that she never boarded the bus. So that's not a good sign. She never boarded the bus. And then also, and I don't know if the bus driver saw the books on the ground, or when they went looking for her, they found her books on the ground. I don't know who first found her books, but it says her school books were found on the ground at the bus stop. So that sounds scary right there. It's like she was abducted while she was waiting at the bus stop and dropped her books, or her books were already on the ground while she was waiting for the bus, just standing there waiting for the bus, and she was abducted. Very scary because she was just 13, and she would make an easy victim for somebody who was looking to have a victim. So, Catrina Renee Jackson. So, for the people out there who research the Jane Does out there, and a lot of people already have, I'm sure, tried to connect her case with the Jane Does that have been found. But this is another girl you have to keep in mind if for the Jane Doe bodies that are found out there, in case one of those Jane Does could be her. Catrina Renee Jackson, missing since May 29th, 1986. Renee went missing from Screven County, Georgia, which is in East Georgia on the South Carolina border. It's between Augusta, Georgia and Savannah, Georgia. It's right here in this green. You can see the red dot says Sylvania. That's Screven County. So that's the county that she went missing from, in Sylvania. It's a town she went missing from. And to kind of give you an idea, apparently, if I have the right area, her sister lived in Hiltonia, Georgia, and her mother lived at Wade Plantation. And they're like 13 to 16 minutes apart, according to Google Maps. So apparently, the bus route for her sister's house and her mother's house is the same bus route. So she would just stay at her sister's sometimes and catch the bus there. And then she would get off at the bus in the afternoon after school at Wade Plantation, where her mother's house was. So her sister lived somewhere in this area, and she was supposed to catch the bus in this area, and then she'd get off the bus later in the day in the Wade Plantation area. Let's see if I can zoom out. So they're very close to the South Carolina border over here, and very obviously close to this Highway 301 right here. There's Sylvania, and this is the Hiltonia area, and this is Wade Plantation area. So let's see. Let me zoom some more. So yeah, so apparently her sister lived somewhere over here, and then her mother's house was somewhere up here, and she could just, take the bus from either area. But that day, when she was leaving her sister's house, walking to the school bus, or she made it to the school bus, we know that because her books were there, she didn't get on the bus. And what happened between the time she made it to the bus stop and the bus came to get her and she wasn't there, I have no idea. Don't have any more information to give. I could not find any more information on this case. But I do know that her mother is still looking for her, and it's been since 1986. That's 40 years. 40 years. So, maybe she's still out there. Hopefully, she just took off on her own and made a life for herself somehow, some way. But it's more likely that she was kidnapped and her body disposed of and just hasn't been found yet, or people don't know that it's been found because it's a Jane Doe that hasn't been identified yet.